All right, in three, two, one, it's Chris Kalen here with Black Southern Belle, and we are talking all things Gullah, Juneteenth, and everything in between. And I'm so excited to be here with Miss Lola Campbell, and she is a sixth generation native of Hilton Head Island, raised in a Spanish Wells community, and coming from one island's oldest Gullah families. Her great grandfather, Reverend Solomon Campbell, is believed to be the first Gullah teacher born and raised on the island. Lola is deeply rooted in Gullah culture. She blends her professional background with her passion for storytelling, entrepreneurship, and cultural preservation. She is the author of Writings on the Wall, Poetic Words from My Soul, and the founder of Gone Gullah and Binya, a cultural retail and consulting brand dedicated to preserving, celebrating, and sharing Gullah heritage. How are you today?
Hi, Chris. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. That introduction itself has is a mouthful, and I just want to dive in there before I even get to my question. So, you're a sixth generation Hilton Head resident. So, what has that been like to be the sixth generation with all of that knowledge and all of that history and all of that land?
Oh my gosh. Well, I feel like in a way there's a big burden on me to make sure that I help to preserve our culture, to conserve it, I like to say, because preservation to me is bottling something. I don't want it bottled. I want it to continue to thrive. But I also feel a tremendous amount of pride for just having that, the roots that I do have here, knowing that my ancestor, six generations before me, was brought to this island, around 1820. His name was Walla, maybe Wallace, Walla. Back then records are a little different or not totally accurate, but anyway, Lola Campbell, was brought here, and to know that he lived in this same community that that my store is in, that I grew up in. I don't live too far from it now. So, I think pride overall, but yeah, like I still feel a little bit of the burden of making sure that I help to continue my family's legacy and the Gullah cultural legacy in general.
Absolutely. Well, heavy is the head that wears the crown, and very beautiful crown that you have. So, just on your
Yeah.
background with storytelling, entrepreneurship, and cultural preservation, what made you say I need to open up the storefront? Because you have Gone Gullah and Binya. I will say, being from Charleston, I always tell people because we have so many people who are not from Charleston here. So I like to call myself a unicorn because I'm born and raised. And
Yep.
I always tell people, I was like, you a Kenya, you in a Binya. So when I saw the name of the store, I was like, wait, I love this. So can you just tell me like what made you say I need to preserve this culture and create a retail storefront?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to preserve the culture in a way that I thought was, you know, that worked for me, and that is fun and that will translate over to many people. That museums and history just don't always do that. So I thought, okay, I can, in a creative way, be able to preserve the culture through opening this gift shop that is the only of its kind here on the island. It's the only Gullah gift shop. And through this gift shop, I've done so much more than just created a shopping experience for people. I mean, they come in and they learn about the fact that my great grandfather built the house that's across the street to the right, and my father was born there, and raised with the rest of his siblings. And then they learn about the fact that, they turn around, look out of the front door of the shop, and beyond those trees are where my grandfather's brothers' children still live. So it's really this whole experience of learning about the culture and being able to shop and being able to support um, Native Islanders. It's not only Gullah gifts, but there are also local artisan gifts from from here up to Charleston. My sweetgrass basket maker is a sixth generation basket weaver from Mount Pleasant.
Wow.
Yeah, so very proud to be able to have her sweetgrass baskets in my shop here in Hilton Head. And like you said, people think of you as a unicorn when you're from these places that like a lot of people haven't known the history of, and they're like,
Mhm.
wow, you grew up here. Charleston and Hilton Head are alike in that I think we've had so many transplants come in, they're not used to meeting someone who is from the place. And so, yeah, they're Kamyas, and I let them know that too. So that's why I named my shop Benya, because I wanted them to ask, what is a Benya? So they
You
know
know?
this for the people who Benya, okay?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. So, just getting into more detail, can you tell us about some of the specific products and experiences that Binya HHI offers and how they actively help preserve, celebrate, and share the Gullah Geechee heritage with visitors and locals?
Sure. So, in addition to having Gullah art and books on the history of Gullah, and the baskets and things like that, Benya also expanded in its second year. So, in like 2023, I expanded to start doing some cultural consulting with some of the different organizations on the island. I've done a collaboration with our local Sonesta Hotel and Resort here, where in their gift shop, I've curated some items, including Gullah Art, sweetgrass baskets, these bracelets that connect us to Ghana, that I make myself, that they sell, and some other items. And then also I've started to work with organizations just to tell the story more authentically where they want to. A great example of that is a project that I'm doing with the Port Royal Sound Foundation, which is in between Hilton Head and Beaufort. And their mission really is about protecting the waterways. And, Gullah people were stewards of waterways. They were the first stewards, I would say, of those waterways and of the sound, because we want to make sure that we can sustain. And so being able to help that organization tell the part of the story in their museum about Gullah culture authentically is, really important to me. And I'm happy I've been able to get that connection. And then, and then a big project I worked on and that has finished and that has been doing really well is actually producing a documentary short called The Spirit We Move With. I worked on that with the Hilton Head Bluffton Chamber of Commerce, and it has gone all over the world in film festivals so far, and including being up for a Shorty Award. Just came from New York about a week ago. We did not win the award, unfortunately, but it was one of the best experiences of my life, just being able to represent our Gullah community, our Hilton Head Gullah community in the Big Apple.
That is amazing. Congratulations. First of all, being nominated and just having your name out there, that's a win in itself. So congratulations on that nomination. You. All right, so with so many interested in the intersection of food, because with food, art, everything all comes back to storytelling. Mm-hmm. How does food and traditional Gullah cooking connect the families we celebrate to the Juneteenth celebration that's going to be taking place coming up very soon? And I saw everything y'all are having a grand time.
Yes, it's a big celebration in the park, in Mitchelville Freedom Park here. This is, I think, the 12th year, maybe. And so how does food, I feel like food just connects Gullah people with everything, or food is the connection, but for Juneteenth specifically, it's, the festival is going to have, have a number of vendors who will be food vendors who will be selling, traditional Gullah foods, also just some down home cooking as well. And I think, every time someone comes to anything, including Juneteenth, that has to do with uh, promoting Gullah culture, or in this area, in this low country area, or along the Gullah Geechee corridor. They're looking for the authentic food. I mean, as I said, food is a connection in our culture. I don't think I have ever come home and had any type of celebration without food. It's so it's always about the food, and Juneteenth is no different. So along with those vendors who are selling, art and wares, there'll also be a lot of food out there, and entertainment. As you said, it's a big event.
Awesome. So, from historical and cultural perspective, from a historical and cultural perspective, what is the profound significance of celebrating Juneteenth specifically at the historic Mitchellville Freedom Park?
Well, I mean, Mitchellville is literally where freedom began. And so Juneteenth is special to me to be able to celebrate it there, because almost 3 years, so let's say maybe about 2.5 years before everybody else in the United States found out that they were free. I'm talking about formerly enslaved people. People at Mitchellville were free. We have to remember that, Mitchellville was founded around October or November of 1862. That was before the Emancipation Proclamation was even read, a little bit down the road in Port Royal, South Carolina. And then it wasn't until June 19th, 1865, that the rest of the country really knew that slaves were freed. So when you see that sign, when you go into the park at Mitchellville, and it says, where freedom began, it really is where freedom began.
That is amazing. So beyond the main festival, what is one locals only spot? I know people don't like to give up the spots, but that you would recommend to someone who's coming to Hilton Head?
Okay. Man, let's see. Well, I don't mind sharing this spot, because I think that it also is going to help the owner of the spot. So I think people really need to go to Ruby Lee's when they are on Hilton Head. So Ruby Lee's is a restaurant that is owned by a native islander here on Tim Singleton, and it's named after his grandmother, and he has great food there and a great atmosphere. There's always entertainment there, and it's a small spot on the north end of the island where most of Native Islander Gullah people live, and I think that it's often overlooked. So I think if you're coming down for Juneteenth, hey, that Friday night before you go out to the park, go check out Ruby Lee's.
Okay, we're gonna check that out. And I was like, I was sent here by Miss Lola.
Yeah.
So I heard amazing things. So the celebration, what I love, it is a multi-day series, including a campfire conversation, a drum camp, and a festival. So what is the overall atmosphere or vibe that a first-time attendee should expect from the full Juneteenth experience in Mitchellville?
Well, I always tell people to come for the whole week if they can, or at least from that Thursday on, because if you like to camp out, the campfire on Thursday night is an awesome experience. My son has made me do it 2 times. I'm not really the camping girl, but I have to admit, it's a great experience. There's always a great conversation by the campfire with Professor Joe McGill, who does these campouts all over America in places where slaves once lived. So it's pretty amazing to be able to have one at Mitchellville. So I say do that, and then the drum camp for the kids on Friday, plus the drum circle, which is just an amazing ritual or experience. It's where you can honor your ancestors. It's where you can bring your own drum and join in to the drum circle. think there are vendors there as well, and it's all a great build up and lead up into the main event on Saturday. So I'd say just take advantage of all of the events if you can.
Absolutely. And just hearing like how things are done like on my grandfather's land or the family's land. And I know I haven't had the opportunity yet, but I know oftentimes when people travel to Africa and when they get there, it's like I just feel like just so welcome. But I can only imagine what that feels like on your own land, like your ancestors' land, just all of that feeling and emotion. It kind of reminds me of that scene from Sinners when everyone was dancing. And I don't
Yeah.
know, that's what I feel. It just something just takes over you for sure.
Well,
So I
I'll
could
tell you,
imagine. I could
there's a
imagine.
special feeling in that park. I think it's a feeling that everybody feels, whether your ancestors were there or not. You walk into that park and you can feel the, just how special it is. So,
Absolutely. So, as an author and a storyteller, one of the most, I mean, I love authors. I love chatting with you guys. I feel like it's always like a different way of thinking that I love. But why is it so vital to share and pass down the specific narratives of the Gullah Geechee community to younger generations on the Sea Island?
because we don't want them to die. That's the short answer, Um, that's the way that our culture has been passed on for years. I wouldn't know what I know about it or be interested in preserving my culture if I didn't sit around and listen to the stories that my father and my mother and uncles and aunts told me about it, and the way the stories are told makes a difference too, because you want to tell those stories so that the kids have pride in who they
Mm-hmm.
are, and not that they feel ashamed of who they are, or how they might say certain words,
Mm-hmm.
because that was a problem at one point,
Yeah.
and that's how we lost a lot of our language. So it's important to just continue to tell it however you can tell it. To record it, now we have all these devices. We
Yes.
can record everything and be able to know. And we know that's how the kids learn.
Yeah.
They want to look at something that's like 30 seconds or less.
Listen,
So
or, I'm gonna say oral history, 30-second oral history. Make it quick, get to the point so they can get it.
yes, exactly.
But yeah, no, I just love having these conversations because I feel like with oral history, when you can just pass that down and from generation to generation, now we can document it. So like I enjoy having conversations like this. So my last question for you, what is the single most important message or key takeaway you hope every visitor leaves with after experiencing Juneteenth on Hilton Head Island?
Well, I hope that they leave knowing the significance of Juneteenth if they didn't know it before. And then more specifically for Hilton Head, I love that they'll get to learn the history of Mitchellville. It is a story that I think has been overlooked and undertold for so many years. I mean, I didn't know about it until I was an adult and I grew up here. So I hope that everyone spreads the news of not only the Juneteenth celebration and what that means, but of this awesome story of freedom that is right here on this small, island that's 5 miles wide and 12 miles long.
That is amazing. It's so many things, all the events. Definitely looking forward to it and just coming and experiencing it. So, for those who are tuning in, starting June 11th will be the Juneteenth Campfire conversation and sleepover with Joe McGill that we spoke on. Friday, June 12th will be the Children's Drum Camp. So, make sure you bring your kids out. So make sure they get some rhythm. If they don't have rhythm, they'll leave with rhythm. And we have so many other events. Okay, Thursday. No, wait. Hold on. Oh, wait.
Friday evening is
Yes,
the
Friday
drum
evening,
circle.
the drum circle. And then Saturday is the actual festival. And you have Grammy award winning artist, nominated artist Stokely performing.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I'm remembering it because it's not here. And then closing out Saturday with the Juneteenth 5K. I'm probably giving it the wrong name because it's not in front of
So
me right now.
It's
Yes.
okay. I know this by heart. June 19th, the actual Juneteenth, will be a 5K run walk that will
Yes.
be hosted at the park. So that's a week later, but if you're in the area, it would be great for you to come back for it.
Awesome. Well, I enjoyed chatting with you so much. One more time, where can the people come and find you in Hilton Head and purchase items? And where can we find you?
You can come to Benya, the store, and it is located on Spanish Wells Road. So 556 Spanish Wells Road. And that is at the intersection of Spanish Wells and Marshland Road. It is a little bit off the beaten path. So you can look me up. You can give us a call at, what is my number? 843-715-9005. And we can give you the directions to get here if you get lost. But we want you to
Awesome.
come visit.
Absolutely. Well, I've learned so much history in the last 2 days. And often when I think about Hilton Head, I only think about like golf courses or resorts. So to know that this hidden gem is there, I'm really excited just to come and explore. I love exploring places in South Carolina, and especially with so much Gullah Geechee history, that really does it for me. But I appreciate you so much for taking the time. Once again, thank you so much, Ms. Lola Campbell, for sitting with me. Make sure you check out the Juneteenth event that's taking place, the multi-series Juneteenth event that's taking place in Mitchelville in Hilton Head. Once again, I am Chris Kalin with Black Southern Belle, wishing you a very happy Juneteenth. Thank you.
Thanks so